And Seattle was one of the urban Indian sites for the Relocation Act, and it worked to try to move natives from their reservations into urban areas. And when they got here, they didn't have the resources that they had been promised, things like education, jobs, and healthcare. And so from that came the Civil Rights era, and with that, the American Indian movement that was, my dad was a part of.
What we realized is that our fiduciary obligations didn't end just because we were now living in cities. And so we had community members who fought to ensure that fiduciary obligation followed us.
And they worked to meet the needs of the people who were here by getting health care and reclaiming the land that had been taken. And so out of the Fort Lawton takeover here in Seattle by Bernie Whitebear, who was a part of the creation of the Seattle Indian Health Board, as well as working with other women in the American Indian Service League, they developed this clinic, initially as a volunteer clinic to try to help the natives here who needed health care.
I think our clinic provides our patients a home. A lot of patients don't even live in the Seattle area, but they choose to drive here or take multiple buses to get here because this is where they feel comfortable.
Whether or not we're biologically related, we develop these really strong relationships in the community. And so we felt like it was really important to remember that we're always treating people not just as a patient, as the Western model teaches us, but as a relative.
It's been pretty incredible. Just full spectrum training in the setting of an incredible community that's appreciative of kind of everything going on here in a community or family style of treatment.
At the Seattle Indian Health Board, we saw this as an opportunity to provide services in the way that we always have, which is treating things, all things with in parity. Right? So it's not just behavioral health, it's not just primary care, but it's also traditional Indian medicine.
Everyone has like a different area that they can contribute to the health of the patient, and realizing what our abilities are and what I can do to support someone else. It takes a village, like the saying.
It is also substance use disorder services, readily available, dental services. Our Indigenous knowledge-informed systems of care is the very first of its kind, where you can access all of these disciplines as part of one team of providers.
We are trying to change the narrative of what it has meant to see healthcare in Indian country. And by that I mean we're using the most evidence-based medicine approaches, we're using the best technology.
It's been incredible. The training itself is a strong combination of both inpatient and outpatient clinic settings, and I think that it's definitely helped prepare me for feeling comfortable in a lot of different environments. And I think the health board especially has been great with teaching different types of procedures and help prepare me for rural medicine, because that's where I'll likely end up after graduation.
We're training family physicians to go anywhere, and they're going to be completely prepared to do family medicine at its best.
I feel like I have a lot of support from my preceptors, my site director. I know I can contact them anytime, any issue that I have. I know that if things come up, they're going to talk to me and let me know ahead of time so I can work through things. Residency's tough, but it's nice to have people that are there to realize that or been through it and can kind of guide you through it.
Part of my love for this job is being able to continue to invest in the next generation of doctors so that we know that the doctors who are going to go out and work in our tribal or urban centers or even our community health centers are going to be trained well.
Because it takes everything to be able to support our people. And that our relatives, our patients, our relatives are at the center of decision making around their health.
For us, and this notion of wanting to have a place that felt like home, like community, as Indigenous people, we all are part of a family. And so we felt like it was really important to remember that we're always treating people not just as a patient, as the Western model teaches us, but as a relative.
I think that's huge because we're able to develop connections, we're able to develop rapport, and I think people are able to trust a lot of us providers and staff and feel like this is a place that really cares about them.
I think that when we select team members to join us in that vision and guiding our mission and our commitment to our relatives, we're looking for the best. We're just really looking for people who are passionate and who understand what it means to be a good relative.
I went to college for dental assisting and came directly to the health board. It was my first job, and I've spent the majority of my career here because this is my home, and I like working with my Native community. It makes me feel connected, and this is home for me.
This is more like a family setting. We're looking for taking care of a person and their whole body, taking care of mind, spirit, everything, and making sure that we're able to offer the best care possible.
The future is our children, and our program will be starting on Saturdays, and we will be seeing children only, and I really look forward to that program starting because it's so needed, and I know that there are a lot of Native children in the Seattle Public School District, and I know that we need to reach out to them and have that availability on Saturdays so that their parents are able to bring them.
Hello and welcome to the Adeline Garcia Community Service Awards Week. My name is Abigail Echo-Hawk. I am a member of the Pawnee Nation. I use they, them pronouns. I have a little bit of hair in the middle of my forehead and it's now gone. So today's a good day. Been growing my hair out in the pandemic, trying to get in touch with those long hair roots, and here we are. It's so exciting to be here with all of you. This is our second day of events in a week-long Community Service Awards Week in memory and the honor of Adeline Garcia. Normally this would be a luncheon, but we're doing things a little bit differently. Obviously, we're in the pandemic, and so we still wanted to honor our awardees and get the community involved and get them to know them. So we're doing interviews with all of our awardees this week. Yesterday, we had an interview with my sister, Abigail Echo-Hawk, and Executive Vice President of the Seattle Indian Health Board about her healing dress that you now see on screen. Please go back and watch that. It was with Priya Frank of the Seattle Art Museum. We have these events coming out every day, and we're very excited to show them to you. I really quickly, though, want to say to all of you watching, I appreciate you, and I need you to share this video. That's right, you in your socks and your sweatpants. I'm wearing sweatpants too. It's a pandemic. All you got to do, hit that share button, and you will have contributed to the love of Native people, because this is a fundraiser. We are really trying to raise a lot of money for the health board. It has been open this whole pandemic. It was open through the government shutdown a while ago. It has been open and ready for our community and the community at large in Seattle this entire pandemic, and we really need your support. So please share this video right now. Hit that button, share it, invite a friend, create a new Facebook, share it on that one. Get some other friends. Make friends with Mark Zuckerberg. Share it to him. He's got money. Just go out there and share these things, because we are, it's a good time. We're going to talk about a lot of wonderful things, but also we are fundraising for a good cause. So please share this event and donate. We have a fundraising goal of $100,000 to be able to continue to provide excellent health care for the love of Native people, provide vaccines for the community. The Seattle Indian Health Board has been providing vaccines for teachers and the Native community and is expanding. So please donate to this vital resource for the entire region. So today we have an interview with Abriel Johnny, who is one of the awardees. But before we get to that, we have a couple things. I wanted to talk a little bit about who Adeline Garcia was, because this is such an important thing in the Native community, that we honor our elders and those who went before us. And so the Adeline Garcia Community Service Awards started in memory of Adeline Garcia, where leaders in the region are recognized for their contribution towards Native issues in the community. We are proud to honor her legacy and commitment to Native people. She was a member of the Haida, the Double Fin Killer Whale Clan, a pioneer in urban Indian social causes, a member of the Indian Heritage High School Board, Seattle Public Schools liaison for the urban Indian high school students, national and state financial aid advisor who helped get money for hundreds of students, a co-founding member of the American Indian Women's Service League, a board member and chair of the board policy committee at the Seattle Indian Health Board. Just an amazing woman. And there's this quote that I wanted to read from her where she talks about getting the health board and creating it. And so we just need to get together and find strength. To be someplace where you know somebody isn't going to be criticizing you because your skin is not the same color as theirs is, and you don't speak the same way. We just need a place where we were comfortable and accepted at face value. That was important. So Adeline was a wonderful woman with a strong legacy that is still being felt, a strong impact that is still being felt within the community. And we continue to honor her every year by honoring other folks who are doing good work in the community. And so today we will be having an interview with Abriel Johnny. Before that, again, we have a lot of sponsors. This is a fundraiser, and so I want to thank our sponsors. Please hold your applause at home till the end. I miss saying that. Community Health Plan of Washington. Thank you so much. Pyramid Communications, our Cora Foundation, One Digital Health and Benefits, Sea Alaska Corporation, Amera Group, Chief Seattle Club, Salal Credit Union, Molina Healthcare of Washington, Decision Point Planners, Spectrum Pension Consultants, Cambia Grove, Building Changes, and Agatha Consulting. Thank you all so much for being our sponsors of this event. And to all of you at home, now that your applause is ended, please, again, I know some of you said, somebody else will share this video and I'm okay. Please share the video now. I see you and I recognize the effort that you're putting in to wake up in this pandemic world. But please go ahead and share this video. Up next, we have a short artist talk with Mackenzie Nuesiok, who's a dear friend of mine. Mackenzie was one of the artists who created a piece and performed it for the Indigenous Peoples Festival last year, which was our first virtual festival. We really kind of pulled out all the stops and did some recordings at McCall Hall, which is normally reserved for the ballet. And we were able to produce some truly wonderful pieces with a lot of meaning. Our theme was Seattle is Native Land. And so the artists were encouraged to create a piece based on that, what that means for them and where they are at in their lives. And so Mackenzie is going to quickly talk about her experience creating the piece, and then we'll all watch it, and then I'll be back.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Nuesiok. I'm a member of the Coharie Native American Indian tribe, and my pronouns are she, her. Growing up in dance and theater, I always faced a lot of hypersexualization and otherization and, ironically, exoticization. And this piece was really a chance for me to be able to reclaim my own sexuality and my own body in a way that was very public and very native at the same time. So I got the chance to both be unapologetically female and unapologetically native and Coharie, and to be this adult person who was in control of my own body and of my own movements, while that coming from my own decision as opposed to being something that was put upon me by somebody else. My creation process for my art as a choreographer is always very inspired by the music. So this song was perma-read by the artist Cowichan, an Indigenous artist, and it's based on a novel by the same name, Perma-read, by Deborah Magpie Earling, which is very fitting to the story that I wanted to tell, about a mixed Native woman who has all of these people telling her what to do, telling her what to be, and trying to control her and her body, something that resonated a lot with me. And so the music essentially was the template for the piece, and I just got to listen to it and let it tell me what to do. As a choreographer who works primarily in musical theater, a lot of the work that I do is often really dictated by a story that we're already telling. But this was a chance for me to get to tell my own story through the medium of dance, and using this beautiful piece of music to get to support that. It was really powerful for me. And I mean, I kind of touched on this, but for me, this piece and this whole event was an opportunity for me to express my indigeneity and my Coharie-ness and my femininity and my power all in the same space, and to get to do that through dance, as a dancer, as a choreographer, was just so special. I've always loved to dance and to be on stage, and to get to be on that beautiful stage on Native land, in this space that was unapologetically Indigenous, was so heartwarming, especially after the year that we've all had. And that, that space, and to be with the other artists distantly was just such a powerful moment, and something that every time I think back on just warms my heart. I find that the more spaces and the more times that I get to just express my Coharie-ness and do that in the way that I love, which is as a dancer, is just something that will never cease to bring me joy. And the fact that people are excited to see that is just incredible. Being a part of this event was so moving and so powerful. And everybody in it was incredible. So I'm just glad that I got to be a part of it. Thanks.
My body, but you can't have my soul. It don't matter what you think you know. You can have my body, but you can't have my soul. It don't matter what you think you know. But you can't have my soul, no matter what you think you know. You can have my body, but you can't have my soul, no matter what you think you know. Just shut up. You may think you know me, but you don't know enough. In fact, I think you better just shut up. Come on, cuz I was born to be free. Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much to Mackenzie for doing that little artist talk. It did look like that was filmed on a potato in the year 1999. Turned it into a joke, Francesca. And it was very fun to create, to see that piece be created and have it talked about. All those videos are available on our YouTube and our Facebook, I believe. We'll be showing some more of those performances, having more artist talks in the coming days. Please check them out. Please go back and watch the Indigenous Peoples Fest and get ready for the Indigenous Peoples Festival that will be happening later this year. We are going virtual again, and we're going to pull out all the stops this time. So thank you all for getting in the comments. I was going to say before we bring up this next piece, I like lots of you grew up around a lot of Native people and in the village and whatnot, and I was often shushed when people are talking. But right now, since we're virtual, you all get a free pass. Please get in the comments, talk a lot. No one's going to shame you or shush you here. Just go ahead and get involved. If you have questions for Abriel that you can think of, please put them in the chat. Perhaps we will ask them. And again, share this video. Do it right now. Abriel's about to come on very soon. So please get in there and share this video. This is a donation event. We do need as many eyeballs as we can on this. So please go ahead and share it. And so up next, I would like to bring up my next door neighbor and sister and executive vice president of the Seattle Indian Health Board, a Vogue artist, perhaps Vogue Artist of the Year, if anybody's listening, Abigail Echo-Hawk.
Hello, next door neighbor. Lovely to see you.
It's lovely to see you as well. You look fantastic.
Thank you. Nothing like a ring light to make you look pretty when you're doing stuff virtually. So I appreciate some things about the virtual world and that I get to control my own lighting.
I look sallow. I look like Smeagol about halfway into his time in the dark underneath the mountain.
Get you a ring light for your birthday.
Thank you so much. I would appreciate
some gorgeous lighting too, and I encourage everybody who is having to be virtual, get yourself a ring light. Change your world. You'll just feel beautiful.
All right, well, I'll let you take it away, Abigail.
All right, well, we're so excited to have everybody join us in this virtual space to spend the time to honor the incredible leadership that we have here in the Puget Sound region of folks who have dedicated their lives to serving the Native community. And often when we talk about honoring people and their lifetime achievements and the things that they've done, it's very often that we assume that we're going to be talking to an elder. But when in fact in our Native community, we know that those folks who are dedicating their lives are our young ones. They're 5 and 6 years old who are taking care of their brothers and sisters. It's folks putting themselves through college so that they can come back and be a strong part of their communities. It's those who have taken the steps like Adeline Garcia, who dedicated her life to ensuring that there was good health care for American Indian Alaska Native people. And that meant, I just was able to hear some stories about how they used to sort through clothes and find clothes for our community members, how they helped create the services that we're in here today. And so we come from that legacy of folks like Adeline Garcia, who we get to honor today. And then we know that we have those rising, incredible leaders within our communities. And when we talk about leadership, the greatest thing in our communities is that we just don't decide to be a leader. What we do is we decide to serve our communities because that is what we have been taught, that we have a responsibility to serving everybody and being part of an individual who can contribute to the whole. And so I would like to welcome the very first of our honorees we'll be spending time with this week, the incredible, the stunning, the brilliant, one of the smartest people I know, Abriel Johnny. So if we can bring Abriel on screen. Hello, Abriel.
Hi.
It is so good to see you. We're so excited to honor you and to recognize that we have young, brilliant leadership within our communities that are following in the footsteps of their ancestors and of the ancestors like Adeline Garcia. And so I remember I got to be the one who sent you the letter And they're like, here, Abigail, here's our like written letter to send Abriel to let her know she won this award. And I was like, I'm going to make it extra corny. I'm going to read part of my letter. I do admit it was extra corny, but it's really how I felt. And so I said, you've been chosen as the honoree of the Adeline Garcia Community Service Award, and your hours within working with tribes and the county, that would have been enough for recognition, but you didn't stop there. And then throughout this letter, I kept writing all of your achievements. And then I said, you didn't stop there. Because that is like one of the things when you were nominated, and I will say I was one of the folks that nominated you, is I thought, wow, look at all of these things that Abriel has done to serve her community. And so we want to honor you today, have some time for conversation. And I'm going to embarrass you a little bit because I'm just going to brag you up. I am so proud of you. So I'll just pass it over to you if you want to give an introduction of yourself, and then we'll get going.
Awesome. Thank you. I am Abriel Johnny, and I am Cowichan on my father's side from Vancouver Island and Tlingit on my mother's side. I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, and I am 32 years old.
Well, thank you for following all of the questions that my siblings sent you for your introduction. They've done a great job in making sure we have all of the answers that we need. They also sent me this, like, let's do a little icebreaker. Let's like make this comfortable. So we're going to do our little icebreaker. And it's a this or that. So which one do you choose? This one or that one? Fish or game?
This is the most nervous one for me.
Well, there is the most
inside each one.
Okay, fish or game?
Fish.
Yeah, Cowichan. Yeah, gotta say fish. Don't want to embarrass everybody. iPhone or Android?
I'm an Android person.
They make me use it at work. I don't know how to use it. Shameful. Okay, here is a question for the ages. Turquoise or Dentillium?
Dentillium.
Oh, Dentillium all the way. And this is probably one of the most important questions any Native person is ever asked. Indian taco or Navajo taco?
My first thought was Indian taco.
Don't tell any Dene person that. They go Navajo taco all the way. Oh, well, it's fun to share this time and this space and this laughter with you. We met each other for the first time, oh my gosh, years ago when I was assisting Claudia Kaufman and Iris Friday in leading their Young Native Women's Leadership Academy. And I remember meeting you because you were kind of in like the back table of the conference room. My sister Colleen and I were facilitating it, and you were so engaged the whole time, and you were also beating the whole time. And I think you beaded an entire medallion in the like 2.5 days that we were there. And I was blown away by the fact that not only were you listening actively and participating, but you got more beadwork done in 2 days than I've done in 2 years. And so I would love to hear a little bit about how you first stepped into finding opportunities to build forward your leadership capacities. What women were you looking towards? For me, it was always Iris and Iris and Claudia are some of my heroes here in this community. What were the steps that you took and what were the support systems that you had as you began to look towards building your leadership skills to serve our community?
I think that so much, I don't think I really had to look that far because so much work has already been done before me. Like, so many organizations have been created, like you said, the Native Women Action Network, United Indians of All Tribes Foundation has been created before, Seattle Indian Health Board, and so many of these programs that, Native basketball programs, all of these programs that were just accessible to me, that were here, that were done by the work of everyone, like, all the work that was done before me. It just created so much access and so such an uplifting system for youth to chase after what they wanted to pursue. And it was ingrained in our cultural values, which is collective success, right? We're supposed to think about others, and it's just innate into our culture that we think about each other before we think about ourselves, that we think about how do we uplift one another, how do I support you? And it's very much a mindset of collective community success, that I think that natural path and all of those support systems that were available to me, and having these spaces where I felt that I could be centered, in an environment that decenters our people all the time, like having a space out at United Indians and having those programs and our cultural events where I could feel centered and supported, and identify what that feels like versus when I'm not centered, and what that feels like, and how do we approach shifting that? How do we make sure that we feel centered in all spaces, that equity is applied in all spaces? So being able to have these safe spaces really allowed, and support systems and support programs really allowed, I think, me to be able to identify those differences and start looking at how do we move towards that? How do we move towards equity in all spaces? And then looking to the leaders that created those spaces for me. How did they do that? I think that's what was just a natural road to community service.
That is so beautiful, because it really speaks the truth of who we are as a Native community. And I think some folks wonder what that looks like in an urban setting. We don't have to be on a reservation to be connected to each other. And we are connected to each other. So as you were describing, how it wasn't like you had to search for it, these opportunities to build your leadership were present in the community. I think back to Adeline Garcia and the women who helped form the Seattle Indian Health Board and United Indians of all tribes, and who participated in the building of the Chief Seattle Club and all of the services here. We're following in their footsteps. And it's just an absolute incredible honor. And you're right, because they built it forward. It gave me and you the opportunity to keep building and growing as part of this community. And the one thing that I always am so proud of when I see your name popping up here and there, I was like, there's my girl, there's my girl, there's my girl. You have been doing so much here in our community. So I'd love to hear a little bit about what your current work is, working professionally, and then also some of your contributions right now to the community. I know you're on the board of the United Indians of all tribes. You could share a little bit about what you're doing right now and some of your time spending in community.
Yeah, I am currently the Community and Tribal Engagement Manager with Healthier Here. So I'm working on the Medicaid transformation waiver, and in that and then also a board member at United Indians of All Tribes Foundation, and then was currently confirmed for being a commissioner on the Seattle Women's Commission. And thank you. And so my work out at Healthier Here, I'm able to focus on equity, which I really appreciate. And one of the things that we were able to do to address COVID and supporting the Native community during the very beginning of COVID was to invest in traditional medicines for 9 different Native organizations that were providing traditional medicines, and being able to be flexible with that funding. So not imposing mainstream standards onto that investment, but allowing our Indigenous people to self-identify or to self-narrate what traditional medicines actually means to us, and how it's applied today to the COVID, to responding to the COVID pandemic. So traditional medicines is harvesting our traditional herbs, as well as addressing us as a holistic person. That's what our culture and that's what our traditional medicines do overall. Is it supports us as a holistic person. It supports not only the physical well-being, but the mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being of our people. And so allowing that to go out as an investment to respond in a flexible way, because we are a very diverse population as an urban Indian as an urban Indian population in King County, and that each of our community members might need a different kind of response or a different type of traditional medicine. And so the community engagement, the tribal community engagement that we did on the front end, in building authentic relationships, in listening, and not only trying to hear or check a box, but actually listening to the feedback of our Indigenous Nations Committee and our community organizations, allowed us to structure it that way to be able to respond. And for United Indians, the adaptability of United Indians to be flexible, and Mike has been amazing in repurposing the space out there to support partnerships across our community. And I think that that's just something that our community naturally does. It's not even secondhand nature. It's firsthand nature for us to want to partner and to support each other. And so United Indians has been reaching out for those partnerships and repurposing the space to be flexible for what the community needs. And that was daycare for those that needed to go back to work and were worried about how kids weren't at schools, and so what was daycare going to look like. And so being able to have that large space out there and an outdoor space to repurpose it for daycare for our community members that needed to go back to work, like at Seattle Indian Health Board.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I was just thinking how key it is. I mean, for us to have had you as a community in a space where you were able to advocate for unrestricted funding that goes towards traditional Indian medicine, to think about as holistic people, that's the dreams of the folks like Adeline Garcia, who fought so hard for just creating a space where we could grow into that. Because 30 years ago, that just wouldn't have happened. But it's because of the steps Adeline Garcia took, along with the other people in our communities, that now we have you sitting in this place where you are able to help do that for our community. It's mind blowing. The work that you're being able to do on behalf of our community, both professionally and in your personal volunteer work. And I think sometimes people, as Native people, are really lucky to be able to take our jobs into what is meaningful to us. So it's so incredible to see you do that. And you also are wearing some of the most fabulous earrings I'm seeing. Come on, folks on Facebook, you know that girl's earrings are incredible. And I know you made them because I've seen them before. You are also one of our cultural keepers. And when I think about that, I think about the fact that you are an accomplished jingle dress dancer. You've been head woman dancer. You're always out there flashing like no one's business out there, out on the dance floor. You are also somebody dedicated to fighting for justice for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. You make regalia, you can do it all though. I can make regalia, I cannot bead. If you could just talk a little bit about the work that you do in really moving forward and building forward Indigenous fashion, holding on to our traditional ways of regalia and fashion and evolving that in the modern ways that you have done. You come with so many different strengths for our community. And for us to know that our traditional ways of dress, of beading, of regalia are just as beautiful and as strong and adaptable while being traditional still is possible is something that you just completely illustrates. I'd love to hear a little bit about your all your artistic endeavors.
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much. I'm always looking to your fashion, so you're an inspiration.
We're a mutual fan club for Native fashion.
I guess in the art is therapy for me, like the culture and the art and that love that goes into every single bead, every single weave, every single stitch is therapy. And for me, I find myself constantly trying to balance that. And I think it's a way of of processing through, trying to, this constant struggle that we're facing from weight of mainstream culture, and trying to hold on to our traditions and being successful at holding on to our traditions, but how do we find that balance? And so I think that's something that comes out in my work, or hopefully comes out in my work, that I'm processing through as I'm beading, as I'm stitching and designing, is how do we honor the traditions and the style and the structure of the past, of our traditions, of all the work that's been done before us, to this current space we're in and where we're moving. And hopefully that's coming out in the work. And each piece that I create, I want it to be, my goal is for it to not be the centerpiece of what someone's wearing, but for them to be the centerpiece, for them to feel confident, for it to just exert their inner strength that they're carrying from their ancestors. It's not for the piece that I created to be the main thing. It's to hopefully that person connects with the piece so much that it brings out and makes them feel, or can feel, all the ancestors that are there with them, all the prayers that are pushing them forward, all the prayers that are protecting them, so that when we're in these microaggressive spaces, when we're in these spaces where we feel like our voice is limited, that we have that extra strength, that we have our beaded armor, that we have our cultural armor that we know has love built into it, so that we can say what we need to say, that we can push where we need to push, and that we can keep pushing forward for equity.
Absolutely. I think that is one of the strengths of our community. People often want to imagine us, just like living in teepees, riding on horses, but we are not in the past eliminated, forgotten, or gone. Although I do look great in the leather riding on a horse, to be honest. It's happened maybe once in my lifetime. And instead we are these like brilliant Native people. I always say I wear my earrings. They're my strength. They're where I draw my strength in order to move forward. And I've got some of your pieces. And to see people, I always love it when you do a new photo shoot with your clothes. And I'm like, oh my God, look at that. Look how strong it is. It just emanates strength. And, there are times where we maybe don't feel as strong as we'd like, and having those pieces really makes us feel strong. So I love seeing your artwork out there. And I know that you learned, I know you've done a lot of work with your mom, and you have other people in your life. I'd love to hear about who are the people in your life who have guided you into this position of leadership. And again, to brag you up, Abriel, you are making a difference in our community. You are building a stronger community for our next generations. You're so young, and the evidence of your work can be seen now at 32. What is it going to look like when you're 52? I'm blown away by it. And I know that strength that you carry comes from those who surrounded you with that love and support, like your mom, and teaching you all of these crafts. Who are the people that you really look to, who have helped guide you on this journey? And who are some of those ones coming up behind you? I always see you with a bunch of really awesome Native ladies. Who are those next leaders in our communities that we should be really supporting?
I think that the people that I've looked to, it's just all the aunties and uncles and, family. It's really that daily lessons that you get from conversations or just watching. And, my dad always had a strong model of giving to others and looking out for others, no matter what it was, right? Like he would go and help someone work on their car, and would be out at daybreak star from morning until late at night if needed. Just thinking about what needed to be done to make sure that those that were doing the work, that were helping put on the event, like being a support. And that's all I can want to do, is to be able to be a support and be a part of the work. And I think my dad really, really modeled that for me. My mom always, you know, modeled. She's brilliant at art, and being able to show me and model for me how to get colors, like color schemes to flow together and to connect well. And I feel like that's something I wouldn't have had if my mom wasn't able to be there to help model it for me, because sometimes you have it and sometimes you just don't. And I feel like that's something my mom just has. She knows how to connect things together in a very beautiful artistic way. And I I think it was all the grandmas and at community events, because it's not just one teacher or one person that I can look to all the time, because we're all different knowledge keepers, and we all feel that that things need to be said in certain moments when they need to be said, and maybe they're never said again, or they're never taught again. And it's being in community and being available for those teachings, I think, that really helped mold me to be who I am in the spaces that I'm in today. And like those little side conversations during a powwow where grandma tells you, come over here, and you go and sit down. It's like, okay, what am I going to learn now? And or in Auntie, it's all the little things. I don't think I can attribute it to any one large thing.
Yeah, that's so important. It's always when somebody says, come sit with me. Oh, that's that chance that you may never have again, to just sit and get that wisdom. Do you have any young and upcoming leaders you love to shout out, or some folks you're seeing in our communities who are making big changes and are leading? You want to shout anybody out?
I feel bad if I leave anybody out.
I always feel bad.
Now I'm frozen. I'm so sorry. I'm frozen.
About some of these folks here, and I see you out with Ixley Whitehawk, other folks who are working. I've also been seeing a lot of you lead by example, and also like really getting into physical activity. I keep seeing these videos of you with like big, huge ropes. You're working out with some Native ladies, really getting your physical activity, good COVID prevention, strong immune systems. You lead in so many different ways, including like the picture that just popped up, doing some modeling for the Chief Seattle Club. It's so great to see your face and the way that you're doing everything you can to build forward such a strong community. So as we kind of close up on this, I know this is like a super weird question because I don't know how I would answer it. I think about this a lot. Is what do you want your legacy to be? What are you hoping to contribute to our community? It's almost the question of what are you going to continue to do to be a good ancestor for the future generations?
I hope my legacy, or when my community thinks about me, I think I want to be known as, or remembered as, someone who made them feel either seen or heard or listened to, inspired, loved, uplifted, or supported when they needed it. And I want them to think that I supported a path of equity for our people. Because the future generations are going to look to the work that we're doing today. And I think that it has to be grounded and honored, and honor the foundation of our past and the present right now. And I'm only able to hold the spaces and do the work that I do today because of the path that was paved for me, before me. And I think I just want my legacy to be a contributor to that path for the future generations.
Well, you are absolutely doing that. And I just want to say, here at the Seattle Indian Health Board, in honor of Adeline Garcia, we are so privileged to give you this service award. We know that this isn't just an award that, you know, the goal is, and we know what you're going to do is to completely continue to dedicate your life to our community and serve our community regardless of where you live. It wouldn't matter if you're in Seattle or you were in Yakima or you were, you know, wherever you are, we know you will be dedicated to our community. And we are so privileged to give you this award, to honor you, to know that you leave a legacy up till now of love, compassion, dedication, and always centering our Native people first. And for that, we are so grateful, and we look to you for your continued leadership and know that you're going to do great things in our community. So thank you so very much for joining us in this conversation today. I can't wait to run into you the next time post-pandemic where I can give you a big hug. We appreciate you. We love you. And we are always here as an organization and people to support you, to stand behind you, to stand beside you, and to assist us as we move forward in our communities. We'll be looking to you to also assist us as we plan for the next generations of the Seattle Indian Health Board and the community as a whole. So thank you so much, Abriel.
Thank you.
All right, Takatsu, pass it on back to you, except for I'm going to make a pitch, which I know you're probably going to do already. Spending that time with Abriel just made me think, this is the young leadership that follows in the footsteps of Adeline Garcia. The work that Seattle Indian Health Board does, along with organizations across the Puget Sound region and here in Seattle, our work is integral. When Abriel was talking about the reasons for traditional medicine and why they're so important, I thought about how here at the Seattle Indian Health Board, everything we do is grounded in traditional Indian medicine. And any donations go towards supporting the services we have to build forward the beloved community that Abriel absolutely exemplifies in her service and her continued service to this community. So I'll pass it on to Takatsu to close us out.
Thank you so much. I truly wish that we had a phone bank behind me, like a PBS special, and you could call in and do that. That sounds pretty great. But no, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you. That hair came back in the middle of my head. Dude, I don't know if you noticed, but I did. I'm really excited for the next events we have coming up. Tomorrow is an interview with another one of our honorees, Dr. Terry Maresca, who I believe I've seen in the comments. So please show up tomorrow, 12:30 to 1:30. Show up early, watch some of the videos that we have. We have lots of videos talking to you about what the health board has been doing and what's going on. We'll have another artist talk tomorrow and another replay of a video from the Indigenous Peoples Festival. And again, yeah, like my sister said, please donate, share these videos, and ask people to contribute to this work. This is the Seattle Indian Health Board is a asset not just for the Native community, but for the community at large in Seattle. And we hope that it will continue to keep on growing and being better, and we know it will. So thank you all so much for your time. Please tune in tomorrow, and I'll see you there.